Did you know that the heroic rescue in The Professionals was hiding one of the darkest untold stories in Hollywood history? Behind the gold, these actors faced scandals and health battles far more brutal than any desert mission. Here's a closer look at where they are now and how time changed them forever in 2026. Marvin portrayed Henry Rico Fardan in The Professionals, 1966, with striking realism because his life already carried the same violence and intensity. Born in 1924, he brought lived experience into the role, making his performance feel raw and authentic. Off-screen, his life unraveled under pressure. He married Betty Ebeling and had 4 children, but his heavy drinking and repeated affairs gradually destroyed his family. During the filming of Cat Ballou, his relationship with Michelle Triola erupted into a major public scandal. She accused him of pregnancy, abortion, and financial promises, leading to a highly publicized court battle that exposed his private life and forced him to admit he had lied under pressure. While the scandal unfolded, his health declined due to long-term alcohol and cigarette use. A severe infection made breathing difficult, followed by a ruptured intestine that required emergency surgery. Although he survived, he never fully recovered. Lee Marvin died in 1987 at 63 from a heart attack, leaving behind a legacy shaped by constant battles. But while Marvin's life burned fast and chaotic, the next man carried strength in a completely different way, and his fall would be just as devastating.
I can understand you got in a trap game and losing $700 in your pants. How'd you lose your pants? In a lady's bedroom. You won't lose your pants. Your life may be pants. What's that?
Robert Ryan played Hans Ehrengard in The Professionals, 1966, bringing a cold intelligence and quiet danger that lingered long after the film ended. Born in 1909 in Chicago, his early life was marked by discipline and strength. At Dartmouth College, he held the heavyweight boxing title for 4 years, proving both endurance and control. Before acting, he worked harsh jobs, from shoveling coal on ships to ranch labor, shaping the grounded intensity that defined his screen presence. Unlike many of his peers, Ryan's personal life appeared stable. He married Jessica Cadwallader in 1939, and their bond extended beyond family into shared activism and social causes. But that stability shattered when Jessica died of cancer in 1972, leaving him emotionally devastated. At the same time, Ryan was already battling his own illness, diagnosed with inoperable lymphatic cancer in 1970, which later spread to his lungs. He refused to stop working. He continued acting even as his condition worsened. He died in 1973 at 63, just 1 year after his wife. 2 lives taken by the same disease, almost back to back. And yet, the next man's story would not be about loss, but about breaking barriers in a world that resisted him. Woody Strode portrayed Jake Sharp in The Professionals, 1966, delivering a quiet strength and physical presence that gave the film a grounded, almost mythic weight. Born in 1914 in Los Angeles, his life was extraordinary long before Hollywood. At UCLA, he was part of the Gold Dust Trio alongside Jackie Robinson, breaking racial barriers in college sports. He later became one of the first black players in the modern NFL, facing constant discrimination while pushing forward. Despite his powerful screen presence, Hollywood rarely gave him leading roles. Even after standout performances in Spartacus and Sergeant Rutledge, he remained cast in supporting parts, reflecting the limitations placed on him. His personal life carried similar pressure. His interracial marriage to Princess Luana Kaelohiua drew attention and judgment, yet they built a lasting family together until her death from Parkinson's disease in 1980. Years of physical strain from sports and acting took their toll. Eventually, he developed lung cancer, yet continued working despite declining health. He died in 1994 at age 80, a life of resilience, strength, and silent endurance. But the next man did not fight quietly. He turned pain into power and fear into presence. Jack Palance played Jesus Raza in The Professionals, 1966, radiating a dark charisma that made him one of the film's most dangerous and unforgettable figures. Born in 1919 to Ukrainian immigrant parents, his early life was defined by hardship. He worked in coal mines before turning to boxing, fighting his way out of poverty. World War II changed everything. A military plane crash left him with severe burns and head injuries, and the reconstructive surgery that followed gave him the gaunt, striking face that became his signature on screen. That unique appearance helped him rise quickly in Hollywood, with roles in films like Sudden Fear and Shane, though he was often cast as villains, something he struggled to escape. Behind the intimidating image, his personal life was quieter, but marked by change. He married Virginia Baker in 1949 and had 3 children before divorcing in 1968, later remarrying Elaine Rogers. Despite injuries and setbacks, he kept working for decades, achieving a late career resurgence, and finally winning an Oscar for City Slickers. He died in 2006 at age 87. But while Palance turned pain into legacy, the next man built his name on quiet authority, until life nearly took everything from him. Ralph Bellamy portrayed J.W. Grant in The Professionals, 1966, bringing a calm authority that quietly drove the story forward. Born in 1904 in Chicago, his path to success was far from easy. At just 15, he ran away from home and survived by joining traveling theater groups, building his career from nothing. By the 1930s, he had entered Hollywood, often cast as the decent, reliable man who lost to more charismatic leads. Yet he endured with consistency over decades. His personal life was far more complex than his composed image suggested. Married 4 times, he moved through relationships before finally finding lasting stability with Alice Murphy, whom he stayed with for over 40 years. Then came a shocking turning point. A rare illness left him paralyzed in both legs, a condition that could have ended everything. But Bellamy refused to accept it. He recovered, learned to walk again, and returned to acting, continuing his career in films like Rosemary's Baby and Pretty Woman. He died in 1991 at age 87 from lung disease, leaving behind a legacy of resilience. But while Bellamy fought his way back from physical collapse, the next story hides a secret so shocking, it was buried for years. By now, you've probably noticed how much everyone has changed. So, in your opinion, who has changed the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's talk about it together. Claudia Cardinale played Maria Grant in The Professionals, 1966, captivating audiences with beauty and presence that elevated every scene she entered. Born in 1938 in Tunisia, her rise to fame carried a painful history few ever knew. At just 17, she endured a tragic ordeal that left her expecting a child, a secret that threatened to destroy her career before it began. To protect her image, her son was raised as her younger brother for years, while she lived under strict studio control that dictated her personal and professional life. This early hardship shaped her deeply. She struggled with emotional distress, pressure, and a sense of losing control over her own identity. Her relationship with producer Franco Cristaldi both supported and confined her, eventually ending in distance. Later, she spent decades with her longtime partner, building a different life away from Hollywood at the height of her fame. Despite success in films like The Pink Panther and Once Upon a Time in the West, the emotional scars never fully faded. Years of stress and heavy smoking quietly damaged her health. She died in 2025 at age 87. But while her story was one of unspoken sorrow, the next name would show how quickly Hollywood can forget, even those who once seemed unforgettable. Burt Lancaster played Bill Dolworth in The Professionals, 1966, embodying strength, control, and authority with a presence that defined the film's tone. Born in 1913 in New York, his early life was shaped by hardship in Harlem, where he learned to fight and survive. Before acting, he worked as a circus acrobat, performing dangerous routines that later influenced his physical, commanding style on screen. His breakthrough came with films like From Here to Eternity and Elmer Gantry, proving he was more than just a physical performer. Behind the success, his personal life was far more unstable. A husband and father of 5, Lancaster went through multiple relationships, with his long marriage to Norma Anderson ending after years of strain, before later finding stability with Susan Martin. As he aged, his health collapsed. Repeated heart attacks weakened him throughout the 1980s until a devastating stroke in 1990 left him partially paralyzed and unable to speak clearly, ending his career. He died in 1994 at age 80 after another heart attack. But if Lancaster symbolized control and endurance, the next man carried a colder, more dangerous intensity. And his ending came far too soon. Marie Gomez appeared as Chiquita in The Professionals, 1966, leaving a strong impression with her striking presence and earning a Golden Globe nomination as a promising new star. Born in 1936, her entry into Hollywood came during a fiercely competitive era, especially for actresses in Western films, where opportunities were brief and easily replaced. Despite her strong debut, her career never reached the heights many expected. She went on to appear in projects like Daring Game and The High Chaparral, but none of these roles were significant enough to establish her as a lasting star. While others built lasting identities, Gomez's momentum quietly faded. What makes her story unusual is the absence of scandal or dramatic downfall. There was no public collapse, no controversy, just a slow disappearance from the spotlight. Over time, she stepped away completely, choosing a private life with her family, far from Hollywood's shifting attention. Now, at 90 years old, she lives outside the public eye. A reminder that in Hollywood, fading away can be just as silent as it is final. But the next man's journey would not fade quietly. It was built on persistence through hardship and struggle. Martin Shaw portrayed Ray Doyle in The Professionals, becoming one of the most iconic faces of British television with his sharp intensity and restless energy. Born in 1945 in England, his early life already carried violence and instability. As a teenager, he was involved in a brutal drunken fight that left him with broken teeth, facial injuries, and a fractured skull, requiring surgery and leaving a permanent scar. he pushed forward, training at Lambda and building his craft through demanding stage roles like A Streetcar Named Desire, developing a raw authenticity that defined his performances. But the success of The Professionals came at a cost. The very role that made him famous became something he resented. He openly criticized the show's violence and shallow writing, feeling trapped by an image he could not escape. His personal life reflected that pressure, with 3 failed marriages shaped by fame and constant exposure. In 2010, he collapsed on stage while already suffering from cracked ribs and a chest infection, yet returned to acting again. Now 81, he remains respected. But while Shaw fought to break free from his past, the next man chased success, only to watch it slip away. Lewis Collins portrayed William Bodie in The Professionals, becoming the embodiment of cool confidence, strength, and explosive charisma that defined the series. Born in 1946 in England, his early life was filled with ambition and missed chances. As a teenager, he played music and was even considered as a possible replacement drummer for the Beatles. But that opportunity never came. He trained, struggled, and eventually found success in acting, rising rapidly with The Professionals. But success did not guarantee a future. After the show ended, Collins seemed destined for greater fame, even auditioning for James Bond, only to be rejected for being too aggressive, a decision that haunted his career. He pursued films like Who Dares Wins, but none brought the lasting success expected. Opportunities faded, and the industry slowly moved on without him. Still searching for purpose, he joined the Territorial Army and later studied directing in the United States, but never found a true second breakthrough. Then came the final blow. Diagnosed with cancer in 2008, he fought for years before his health collapsed. He died in 2013 at 67. A man who came close to greatness, but in the end, slipped just beyond it. So, decades later, the iconic cast of The Professionals 1966 has undergone truly breathtaking transformations. Some ascended to legendary heights, while others battled hardships that most fans never could have anticipated. Time has reshaped them in ways stretching far beyond the lens, uncovering real-life dramas just as gritty as the movie itself. Which veteran actor shocked you the most, and whose secret journey did you never see coming? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you loved this retrospective on the cast then and now, remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more hidden chapters behind your favorite Golden Era stars. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next video. Farewell.